one more on Fetterman. I'm just curious if the president feels that the lieutenant governor's decision to participate in that debate was an important moment in terms of welcoming people who have disabilities into the public sphere, and whether that was important symbolically.
Look, the president, as I said, is very impressive by his courage and that he sees from the lieutenant governor. I'm not going to get into any analysis of if he should have or should have not, but clearly, when you are in those positions, when you are a lieutenant governor, you are also a leader, and on many levels. And so again, we are impressed by his courage. We are impressed by what he's been able to accomplish these past several months, and the president will continue to work with him down the road.
The president's frequently talked about transparency, and so has this administration. Does the president believe that Fetterman should release his medical records?
I've been asked this question, and I leave that over to the lieutenant governor to make that decision.
Was the White House in any way surprised by the performance of the lieutenant governor in the debate? I know that people here, including not just the president, but others have been in touch with him. But was there any surprise in terms of how he performed, given the auditory processing, given the high profile of the evening and that sort of thing? Was it a surprise to the White House at all?
So look, it's been a busy day. As you know, you guys have been watching the president. He gave a speech on junk fees, which is going to be incredibly important to the American people, saving American people $24 billion. So that was something that he was certainly focused on. The Israeli president is here, who he's hosting, as you all know. So it's not a conversation that we are currently having here internally. But I will remind you that the president was just with Lieutenant Governor just last week, I think a week from today, when we were in Pittsburgh, and the president talked about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, how it was able to really help to rebuild the Fern Hollow Bridge. As we remember, back in January, fell, really just collapsed, and thank goodness no one was severely hurt. And because of the work that this president has done, we're able to rebuild that bridge in a year's time. And so, or just under a year to be exact. So that's kind of our focus. Our focus is how we're going to continue to do the work that we have been doing for the past several months. Again, the president, in his personal conversations with Lieutenant Governor, he finds him to be an authentic, really brave individual.
Do you need to have any additional captioning service or anything like that to help facilitate that conversation?
Well, you guys saw him. I think some of your colleagues were there when we went to Philadelphia to the fundraiser, and so your colleagues were there, and so they could speak to that themselves. And so, I'm not gonna get into what he shouldn't do, not do medical. That's not my place to do. That is for the lieutenant governor to answer on his own for himself. But again, the president looks forward to working with him down the road.
Did the president watch last night's Senate debate in Pennsylvania?
I knew you were going to ask that question. So I actually tried to get an answer for you. I went to the Oval, but the president has had a very busy morning, as you all know, with the Israeli president he's hosting, who's in town. And so I was not able to get an answer on that, if he was able to watch the debate last night. But I do want to be careful. I'm not going to get into political matters from here. No, I know. I always preface that, because just want to be safe here. We do care about the rule of law here. So just want to say that. But I will say this, the president looks forward to working with the lieutenant governor when he is in the Senate. And so we, to continue to lower costs, to continue to deliver for the middle class family. I could say also that, in his conversations that he's had with Lieutenant Governor Fetterman, he finds the lieutenant governor to be a strong and authentic advocate for the middle class. And as you know, he has traveled many times to Pennsylvania, and they've had events together, and he's looking forward again to continue to work with him.
A separate question. We know Friday the president plans to meet with Lieutenant Governor Fetterman in Pennsylvania. It's also the first day of early voting in Delaware. The last time there was an election in Delaware, the president had to make a last-minute trip up there to vote in the primary at some significant taxpayer expense. Does he plan to vote early or on election day?
Look, the president, as you know, believes that people's right to vote is incredibly important, and he clearly exercises that right. And I don't have anything to preview on his schedule about when he's going to be voting. And when that happens, we certainly will. You will all know, but I don't have anything to share on the timing of when he's going to vote. He certainly will vote. I just don't have a timing on when.
Okay. Just a really quick follow-up to Zeke's question. Given the amount of time that the president has spent with Fetterman and the conversation that is happening today in the wake of last night's debate performance, does the president have any concerns about, has he ever raised, either in conversation with you that you've been a part of or with others here at the White House, any concerns about his health?
So I'll say this, in personal conversations that the president has had with the lieutenant governor, the president has found him to be impressive, an incredibly bright and talented person who's just as capable as always to carry out his office, the duties of his office, as we know he is lieutenant governor currently, and has great ability and heartfelt concern for the people of the Commonwealth. And that is what the president has observed himself. That is, as is the case before and is the case today. And he respects the courage and the honesty that he sees from the lieutenant governor, that he's experienced in their conversation and their relationship over time. And we have of course, as relates to your question about his health, seen the same comments from independent medical experts that you all have noted, and that the improving symptoms he has have to do with the speech and hearing, not all with cognitive function. So again, he thinks that he looks forward to working with the lieutenant governor in the future, and sees him as an authentic individual who is fighting every day for the middle class, and finds him incredibly impressive.
Given the president last week in Pittsburgh, when we were traveling with him, said that he did think Democrats would be able to hold the Senate. Does he still think that today, given last night's debate performance?
I mean, look, I'm not going to get into analysis here. There are people out there who are political pundits who are clearly doing that every day for the next 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. So we're not going to get into those specifics. Here's what the president believes. He believes that the American people have a choice. There's so much at stake for our country, and he believes that the choice is very, very clear. He believes that Democrats and congressional Democrats and the president have a lot to speak to, and you've seen that across the past several weeks from this president. He's talked about student loan. He's talked about economic recovery. He's talked about today even the junk fees and what his administration is doing to make sure that we give a little bit breathing room for the American people. He's talked about lowering costs. We see gas prices, as Kirby was saying, has come down about $1.25 a gallon because of the work that this president has done. So he believes, and let's not forget the Inflation Reduction Act that only Democrats voted on, that's going to lower healthcare costs. That's going to really put in a great effort in fighting climate change, and also lower energy costs. So for him, he believes, and also congressional Democrats, because you hear them talking about it as well in their districts and states, have a lot that they have delivered for the American people, and that's going to be his focus these next couple of weeks, as it's been these past several months.